knew what the word meant, you know. As I look back on it, it was quite a thrill, because I do have an ingenious attitude about music, although there are other people that are just as good a genius or better than me, so it's all relative, you know.
A genius's life is never easy, and in the world of rock it's even harder. Brian Wilson is among those who gave as well as suffered the most in his 25 years as a star. If today he seems a forgotten figure, he was once, in the early 60s, the lead member of America's #1 band, the Beach Boys, who embodied the sun and fun of California, which left some Europeans cold. And a threat was soon to come from that not-so-hot spot, Liverpool.
We were jealous of the Beatles at first, but then what happened was the Beatles hit America in January of 1964. And it took 2 weeks, and the whole place was coming down over the Beatles, right? But I realized that Mike and I were very threatened by this. We saw we were going to be eclipsed off the scene by the Beatles. Well, not when we eclipsed. We were not eclipsed. Instead, our sales increased because the Beatles were a shot in the arm to the Beach Boys to sell.
Brian is right. The Beatles gave rock, flagging since the defection of Elvis and the death of its pioneers, a second wind. It was the Beatles who gave birth to pop culture and forced Brian to abandon his odes to the simple joys of surf, sports cars and good-looking Californian girls. He stopped touring and locked himself in his studio along with his introspection and his impending deafness. There he produced his masterpiece, the immortal album Pet Sounds.
It was the first album that really expressed music to people, real music, not just rock and roll like Serving the USA, but real music, you know. And it was really a very definite breakthrough for the Beach Boys musically. The Beatles did Rubber Soul, right? And I was so blown out by Rubber Soul that I did the Pet Sounds. And Paul McCartney was so blown out about Pet Sounds that he made Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And that was in 1967. And after that, it just kind of got crazy. You know, we just started going into town on different things.
It wasn't just the times that were crazy. Brian was too. He set fire to the album which was to follow Pet Sounds and spent the next 20 years in a drug-induced daze. He pulled through that period with the help of a wild, weird guru named Eugene Landy.
He brought up the idea for me to do a solo, you know, tour. So I thought, well, I said, I'll do that. I mean, a solo album. And I said, I'll do that if we can go at my pace, if we can go slow and get it right at my pace. Then I said, I'll do it. He's the leader and organizer of my musical sessions, of my sessions. I'm his business partner, basically. And then I think after that, I would say he would be the smartest man I've ever met in my life. The thing is, we work together. We have a company called Brains and Genius. And that company, we do a lot of things for that company.
Sadly, Brian's solo album seems to point to the end of the Beach Boys, perhaps stuck forever in a 60s groove.
I'm not sure. I'm interested in my solo career mostly, and I think I can squeeze in the Beach Boys at the same time, you know. It's all up to myself and my collaborator, Gene Landy. He and I are the ones that make the decisions for the Beach Boys, too.
But the Beach Boys, who along with the Beatles passed into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at the beginning of this year, nevertheless belong to history. As for Brian, he will only find peace when he catches up with his old rivals. He was given a slender chance when George Harrison called his manager.
You see George tell him, I said, I'm looking forward to working with him, and I don't know, well, I hope something comes out of it, because he's really good. You know? Okay. He's very good. All right, bye-bye, guys.
Okay, bye.